What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again with another video, and I will be uploading a series on creative testing. So over the next month or so, I'll be putting up a bunch of videos on how to test creatives and actually scale with creatives, never run out of ads to test. But this video is the foundation. So if you don't understand what I talk about in this video and watch it in full, then you're not going to get any value from the future videos I make on creatives, because I'm just going to assume that you know everything in this video. But everything in this video is going to be directly implementable to you today. And this strategy is best implemented if you already have 1 to 2 winning ads already and you're doing like 500 to $1,000 a day in revenue. This method really shines when you're scaling from 500 a day all the way up to 10K a day, 20K a day. And I've personally scaled 2 different brands in the last year to over $20,000 per day with this exact creative testing framework. Another thing I want to add in here is we talk about this every single week on our weekly group calls in the VIP Discord. I put the link in the description of all my videos. Go hop in there, get on VIP, and we can hop on the calls and discuss anything about creative scaling. I'm also documenting, me building my brands live. The whole brand that I bought and sold in 15 months successfully is documented in that Discord as well. So yeah, hop in there, let's talk about it, and let's get straight into this video. I'm gonna position this entire training as reframes. And the thing that you need to know about these reframes is I'm trying to take your mind from one place to the place where I'm at right now and the way that I think about creatives. So each of the reframes will teach you something new, and then at the end, they're all gonna kind of work together and morph into a creative testing strategy that you can start implementing literally today. So reframe number 1, whenever you're testing creatives, you have 2 different ways to do that. You can either test new, and we'll go over what we're actually testing in the next reframe, or you can scale existing. So these are the 2, which you'll hear me mention these later. So testing new is like testing new angles, formats, whatever. And oftentimes it's like a shotgun test, or you're trying to find new angles or new formats. And then scaling existing is honestly not even the most effective way to test creatives. I'm a much bigger fan of testing new creatives. If you haven't found at least 10 plus winning ads for your brand, you are likely going to thrive in the testing new phase. The people that are really going to thrive here are people that are probably already doing, at least 5K a day, 10K a day. They already have 5 to 10 winning ads, maybe even more. And that's when you can really do, deep dives, as I would call them. The second reframe I want to go over is all of the different variables that make an ad. So each different variable of a winning ad is extremely important, especially when you're trying to test a lot of creatives and find a lot of different winning angles and generation methods and formats. Reframe number 2, let's talk about the different variables that make an ad, right? That make a winning ad, let's just say. So number 1 variable is the generation method. So this is actually how you actually get the ad. So here's a few different options, like you have different AI tools, Canva, Fiverr, or contractors. So this is a separate variable of a winning ad. And whenever you're doing learnings on your winning ads, you want to document what the generation method was. So the next variable is the format. So there's literally hundreds of different formats. Like, it's insane, but like, just to give you a few examples, you have image and video, before and afters, comparisons, reviews, demonstrations. And then, if you go into image ads and video ads, there's so many different formats under each of those, like the length of the video. Does it have a voiceover? Does it have slow music, fast music? So these are all formats and variables that go into a winning ad. And it's really good to identify all the potential, formats that you can test. And we'll go into how to do that in a second here when we talk about putting it all together. The third variable is the angle. So this is basically just different ways that you can portray the value of your product to an avatar, to the avatar that you're trying to target. We'll go into how do you actually get angles, probably in a later video, because that's kind of a big topic right here. And then the last one is concepts, which concepts are winning formats and angles. So it's basically a combination of before and after with an angle. Those are the 4 main variables, and these are the things that I'm looking at when I'm performing learnings and trying to discover new ads to test. I'm testing new generation methods, new formats, angles, and then ultimately finding winning concepts and then going back and testing those with different generation methods, trying to replicate the success. Formats, very, very easy to find formats. I usually just source them from other brands, and then you source the angles from your research. So yeah, I'll do another, this will be like one of the future videos when we go over like how to find ad angles. Reframe number 3 is putting it all together. So now that we understand, you're either going to be testing new variables or scaling existing variables. These are the variables: generation method, format, angle, and concepts. Not so much concepts, because concepts are just a mix of formats and angles, but I still write them down whenever I do my learnings. Basically, if you don't have any winning ads currently, or if you're testing products or whatever, I always try to do new everything. This usually goes in batches of like, whether it's like 5 videos or 30 images or 50 images, whatever your existing testing strategy is now, you can implement the same mindset. Whereas if you don't have any winning ads, I'd say if you have under like 5 winning ads, you're gonna wanna be testing new everything. And I call these shotguns because you're basically shooting a bunch of bullets at a wall and seeing what hits the target, right? It's basically just testing random generation methods, random formats, random angles, creating random concepts, and you're doing them all in different variations so that every single ad that you launch is unique. So for example, or if I was testing a new product, I'd probably make one batch of like 30 image ads, for example, and I would make 10 of them with, Claude and Higgsfield. I'd make 10 of them on Canva myself, 10 from an agency, or 10 from a different AI tool or whatever. So I'd have 30 ads with 3 different generation methods. And then what I would do is I would try to test probably 5 to 10 different formats in that one batch of 30. So that means if you're doing 10 formats, you're gonna do 3 ads per format. So let's just say 3 of them are before and after, 3 of them are customer reviews, 3 of them are demonstrations, 3 of them are this. Okay, so far we have 3 generation methods, 10 formats, and then we have angles. Which angles you're also going to want to test, 5 different angles, 10 different angles. So you would basically list out all the different angles, all the different ways you can portray the value of your product to your avatar. And then you're basically just going to mix them up and make 30 different ads. Like just bang out 10 on this, 10 on this, and make sure that you're mixing in the different formats, make sure you're mixing in the different angles. And that's what I call a shotgun test. Okay, and that's basically what you want to do if you have, under 5 winning ads, or if you're testing new products, because you're just trying to cast a wide net. And this also ensures that you have good variety on every single ad that you test, because a lot of people, whenever they're testing products or testing creatives, even early on, if they're stuck at like 500 a day, $1,000 a day, most of the time they're testing all, one generation method, 1 or 2 formats, 1 or 2 angles. Like they're not really hitting this amount of volume and variety in their testing. And following this method will ensure in the beginning that you're casting a wide enough net to where some of the bullets will actually hit the target. Once you have some bullets hit the target, now you can actually use your proven variables and start testing one variable at a time. So basically in the beginning, it's like completely random everything. Once you find some success, now you're getting some proven variables. Like for example, let's say Higgsfield works really, really well for images. Canva doesn't really work really well, but you hired an image editor on Fiverr and it does work really well. So now you would have 2 different proven generation methods, okay? And then let's say the before and after, one of those did really well, and then a review did really well, and a human product did really well. So that's 3 more winning formats that you have. So now you have 2 winning generation methods, 3 winning formats, and let's say you have 2 winning angles. And again, this is why I recommend just doing random testing until you get to the point of having 5 to 10 winning ads, because these winning ads will tell you what are the winning generation methods, what are the winning formats, and what are the winning angles. Once you know those 3 things, aka once you have 5 to 10 winning ads, you want to begin testing new things in this fashion. You're basically using proven variables and you're adding 1 new variable per test. So instead of doing everything new generation method, new format, new angle, you're just going to do 1 thing new at a time. So if you look at each of these lines, this would be like a different ad batch, right? So let's say that these are another batch of 30. Winning generation method. So going back to the example, we would do Fiverr. We'll do Fiverr for this entire batch, right? Because we know that Fiverr is a proven way to get ads. So we're gonna use the winning generation method. We're gonna do a winning format. So the entire batch is gonna be before and after, but we're gonna do new angles. So we know that this generation method works. We know that this format works, but we don't know that these angles are gonna work with this winning generation method and this winning format. So that's what we're testing here. And it's a similar style to shotgun earlier, except instead of doing new everything, we're only doing new one variable. Okay, and you can see on this line, you can also test new generation methods with winning formats and winning angles. And then winning generation methods, winning angles with new formats. So with these combinations, like if you have 10 winning ads in an account, like if you follow this method, you'll shotgun strategy until you get 10 winning ads. And then you can start really testing because you're gonna have like proven generation methods, proven formats, proven angles, and then you can start mass like deep diving into these angles and these formats and same strategy where it's like if you're doing winning gen method, winning format, and new angles, you're gonna wanna do 10 angles in that campaign and have 3 ads per angle. Or if you're doing video, you could do 5 videos and you can have 5 different angles with the same format and the same generation method. But that's still kind of like a shotgun where each one is like different and unique. It's just less variables that you're testing at a time because once you catch this initial traction, the power it gives you is the power of a control and a variable. And this is when you can really start testing creatives and really start understanding what works and why it works because you're isolating each variable in each test. So in the shotgun method, you basically have no idea what you're doing. You're just fucking throwing everything out there and things will work. But then you learn from those and you isolate the variables and you test new angles, new formats, or new generation methods, except this time you actually know what's work and you're starting to learn why they're working because you're isolating the variables. So this is for testing new. So if we go back to the first foundation or the first reframe, that was how you test new stuff. So this is like testing new generation methods, new formats, new angles. And then we want to talk about scaling existing generation methods, formats, and angles. And this is very, very simple to do, but I will say that most of your scaling is going to be from testing either shotgun campaigns that just find crazy winners and you're going to end up scaling, or from these more controlled tests where you just find new winning ads and you scale. So scaling existing variables, I don't do as often, but it is a way, like if your hit rates are high, you can definitely find a lot of winning ads by following this method right here. So you're launching new ads that follow all 3 winning variables, okay? And then this is where you go into like micro variations, because obviously, even though the generation method is the same, the format is the same, and the angle is the same, it doesn't mean that all of the ads are gonna look the same because there's micro variables inside of those ads where you can make 10 different image ads look completely different, and they could even all have different words, but it's following the same generation method, same format, and same angle. Example, if this is images, you can do different photos of your product, different layouts of the image ad, different copy on the image ad, but still following the winning gen method, winning format, and winning angle, but with these minor variations. And then if videos, you can do things like different creators, visuals, and voiceovers. So if you kind of follow this as a step-by-step, it's like step 1, shotgun testing until you have 5 to 10 winning ads. Once you have 5 to 10 winning ads, you start basically isolating each variable and kind of diving deeper on the winning methods or the winning variables, like the generation and the format and the angle. And then once you do that, like this can get you, like if you follow these 2 steps, you can get to having 50 plus winning ads just by doing this before you even start messing around with this. But if you're starting to get dry on like new formats, new angles, and new generation methods to test, that's probably the point when I would recommend to do this, which is where you're not introducing new stuff. You're actually only doing stuff that works. Only winning generation methods, winning formats, and winning angles. You can definitely mix and match them in different ways. just with minor variations so that the actual end product comes out looking differently, but all the messaging is the same. That's basically the foundation of my, like, how I launch creatives and how I create creatives and come up with ideas, and the order of which I launch them. So in future videos, this is gonna make a lot more sense when I talk about the ad strategy and like how I actually launch creatives. So I know that that was a lot of info, but hopefully you understand it all. And if you have any questions, as always, DM me on Instagram. You can always leave a comment here too. I respond to all the comments. And again, if you want to discuss this and talk to me every single week about how I'm scaling my brands and even watch me scale my brands live in the Discord, just join. I'll put the link in the description. And I'll see you guys later. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.